Oh, okay. All right, cool, cool. Well, welcome back to the MAJO Podcast, real, raw, unfiltered. Today we're talking about something that every man wrestles with, whether we want to admit it or not.
Working
Dad
at
bod, do what?
working at Best Buy.
Working at Best Buy, exactly, which maybe causes the dad bods and emotional damage for some people. On the outside, it's our bodies, how we see ourselves, how others see us, and how it affects us in marriage, fatherhood, and just walking into a room. On the inside, it's the baggage we carry from growing up, from relationships, and from just being men who were never really taught what to do with feelings. We're going to laugh at ourselves, get a little vulnerable, make Rob cry, maybe, and maybe even figure out something else out along the way. So, that's a little official introduction. I'm Derek. I am a psychotherapist in Oklahoma City. I've been married for 25 years, have 7 kids, no grandkids yet, unfortunately. And yeah, that's me, I guess. So, Jason,
I'm
still
Jason.
working on it. Still working on it, bro. I'm gonna get there one day. I don't
You
have the experience y'all have with this yet. I'm gonna get there though.
you get that. Just gotta do it like 500 times.
Right, right.
Nah, I'm Jason. I'm a father of 3, grandfather of 2, loving life here in Jacksonville, Florida. I feel like I'm bringing nothing to the table. I just have 2 kids, and my name's Rob. So, uh, what do you want me to say? It's like we have a psychotherapist. We have 2 people with like multiple kids, grandkids, everything else. Jason probably is getting alerts right now of who else is getting. Like, do you have another child now? Was that what your
Yeah,
plug
yeah.
was? Just had another. But guys, if you're watching YouTube, you'll see that Jason has to like take his headphone out to
Mhm.
listen to whoever he's talking to, and that's what I contribute to the show. Is I don't really answer any questions or do anything of importance. So
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So I do gotta ask, because I did see a little bit on social media, but I wanted to ask in person. I think y'all may have talked about it before I got on, but what happened with the arm, bro?
I flexed so hard that the ligament ripped right off the
Putting
bone.
in that work.
You know what it is? It's the work of having like a rare disorder. My body is growing calcium deposits at an incredibly rapid rate. So
Oh
this one
wow.
actually grew up. So it's like part of your bone says, "Hey, we love all the calcium in your body. Let's build like a spike." And the spikes go in whatever directions they want. And this one kind of pinched under the ligament.
Oh
So
wow.
imagine you have like a rope and you've like pressed it onto like
Hmm.
a pocket knife, and over time that rope's kind of like swinging and
Hmm.
moving. So what I unfortunately did, I was horse playing in the city and I punched my best friend and I was like, that's a big pop.
Mm.
And yeah, like I mean he went flying because I'm very strong. But I have to put that out there. Like
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, I
this might
believe
come
you.
back in like a court case or something. Like I
Hmm.
don't know.
Uh-huh.
Um but no, I heard a pop and then I was like, well, that's not right. And when I went to the like the not the urgent care, like sprains and strains for the x-ray, they're like, oh, you ripped this sucker. Like you could see the bicep had completely like was off the bone.
My gosh.
So tore the distal bicep. I will have no use of my right arm for the next 6 months. So I can't lift weights. It's like physical therapy, learning how to type and write and do everything else again. Uh, so yeah, as an online fitness trainer, as a teacher, I kind of need to be able to write, type,
Hmm.
and lift weights.
Hmm.
So it's going to be an interesting 5 6 months ahead of me, but
Wow. Wow. So is there anything that they can do for that so that it doesn't happen like that again, or
yes and no. So they repaired the tendon and they reattached it to the bone. But the problem is like they don't know why I keep growing calcium deposits as quickly as I can. So like they
mm,
can show up on my hips, on my arms. Before it would cause me to have like frozen shoulders. So when the it hits a nerve, it pretty much shuts down that part of your body. So you can't really move it. And they have to go in and like shave the bone off so that it doesn't keep pinching the nerve. So that used
my
to happen,
goodness.
like, once every 2 years to me, and now it's, like, every 3 to 4 months, so
My gosh, bro.
yeah,
That's
it's
wild.
fun. It's
Yeah.
fun.
I
It's rewarding.
yeah. Yeah, sure. What's the so did you know you had the disorder?
No,
Oh,
we're finding this out at like you guys are getting this raw and live as we go through this.
mm,
I've spent after surgery and getting blood work and figuring out everything. They've ruled out that like right now it's just like I get calcium deposits at a very large rate.
mm.
And that calcium also builds up around my heart and lungs. So we're gonna go look at a cardiologist. I know we went from like talking about screwing around on the Best Buy truck, and this got very deep very quickly. So if you want
But
to go
I
back,
mean, that's what it's about.
No, that's what it's about, bro. That's why I'm
We're
asking the
here.
question.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a you're gonna get a roller coaster for whoever
Mm,
listens to this. But no, so they had to figure out like, is the heart and lung area capable of even handling the first surgery? It was. So now we're going back to cardiology and seeing what we have to do for that. Um, Long story short, it's like just a blessing that I've gotten myself in such a good shape.
mm,
Because a lot of the initial things they would have told me with chest pain, joint pain, any of this is like, well, diet and exercise. And it's like, I'm not the one. Because
mhm.
it's like, here's my data for the last 5 years of
Right.
everything that I've eaten. And they're like, well, do you binge eat? Do you binge drink? And I'm like, I do, but I also keep track of my binge eating and binge drinking. And they're like, even for like, my big problem is for drinking, it's like, I'll have 10 drinks a month. The problem is I'll have them on like a Friday from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Mhm.
So it's like, but then I'm good for like the next 31 days. I can be like, okay, I got hammered and I'm good. But they're like, you're really only, yeah. So they're like, you're not drinking properly, but you're not drinking so horribly that this should be causing your issue. But you have a bigger issue with how you're drinking 10 drinks a month. So
So
they're
like
like,
you're not drinking improperly, but you're also not drinking properly.
it
Yeah.
turns out I'm just an asshole. Like it's, but like from a health standpoint, everything else is good. But no, it's kind of a blessing that I'm in as good a shape as I am and everything, because they would have been like, well, let's check your progressions for your bicep lifts and your muscle. I'm like, here's 5 years worth of data on this too. And they're
Mm,
like, you're progressing your weights properly. So it ruled out a lot of the things that it might be. And it's part of the process is like why I always advocate for my clients, everyone to just really make sure you go to your PCP regularly, that you get your data, your CPAPs, all that
mhm,
stuff together. Just because then like you can kind of like figure out what's really wrong and what's not wrong. Because the answer they always want to give is like, well, just lose weight, which does
mhm.
solve a lot of your problems.
Right.
Right. Right. So how does your wife reacting to kind of like maybe the idea that calcium would grow around your heart or your lungs and stuff like learning this stuff? How is
She
she responding?
she's a nurse, so she's
Mhm.
very knowledgeable about how to handle all of this. And she has been going through and making sure that all the appointments are made, that I'm getting followed up with everything. Um, and I think it's a little tougher when you work in the medical field because you kind of have a bigger look of what everything can be and can't be. But
Mhm.
she's done an amazing job of coordinating that our kids are in place, having my mom and my family members around to handle everything. Um, just really making sure that like I'm not in pain and going through a lot. So
Mm,
she's done an amazing job with my care. And even going back to bariatric surgery, she was the one who had recommended I go. She was the one who recommended that I had a public Instagram page. So
mm,
she's really been an advocate for me to get better and share and get into even like mental health and therapy, because I did not believe in that either,
mm,
um, at certain points. So
mm.
And
She's been a big
I thought it was funny because at one point Robin tried to like not tell her what was going on, like with some of his medical stuff, but he
100%
goes to the doctor at the hospital system she works.
at Penn. So
So
it like
she
pings her system
so
of
she
like
kind of knows
literally.
she's kind of his contact person in the system. So it's not like
Mhm.
she can't not know. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on here? And so he had to, but as men though, that's what we do. Like we try to
Mhm.
downplay our own shit. We don't want to talk about it.
I
Mhm.
think it's also a testament just to remember, like, people are really smart in some aspects of their lives and then morons in the other. So it's like,
Mhm.
but it's true. Like,
It's
I
true, for
know
sure.
exactly what I'm an expert on. I
Mhm.
also know what I am horribly ill-equipped for, like
Mhm.
communication skills,
Mhm.
patience, like empathy. Like there's certain pros and cons of being painfully aware of what you can and cannot do in your process. But yes, it's definitely man stupidity 101 there of search the hospital that your wife works at and then do all the paperwork to submit at the hospital your wife works at.
Mm. Yeah, that's that probably wasn't the most conspicuous move or under what's the word I'm looking for?
I
Like
don't know, Derek.
I don't know what it is.
You're the psychoanalyst. Maybe that was
I,
the cry for help. Like spin some gold on
if
this.
you want me to analyze you, first of all, I'm not a psychoanalyst, but I do dabble in psychoanalysis, psychodynamic theory. And that is how I practice from. So, but we're not going to do that tonight because I'm in the middle of an intensive with a couple. And it's the second day, so I spent 16 hours with them. I got one more day, so I don't want to. I'm not in the psychoanalyzing mood. Yeah, it's a 24-hour intensive
and then
I'm doing
you
right now.
chose to talk to me.
Absolutely.
What is wrong with you? Can I psychoanalyze?
It's 24 hours and 3 days back to back to back.
Yeah.
It's the
what do you charge?
I don't even want to be that. I can't think of anything less appealing than that right there. Sitting in a room covering all the shit for 3 days straight.
I can name multiple things that I will share after the episode, and I will make them all pertinent to things that Jason knows. So I can 100% answer what I'd rather do than that.
Man, it's an amazing experience though, man. Because I mean,
that shit, I will not.
No, I'm just saying, like it really is. It's because I mean, think about what we're saying. Like men hide stuff, men, keep things in. Like even talking about the emotional damage that we're going to get into. Like a lot of the times, 50 minutes or 75 minutes once a week isn't enough time to bring down defenses. Like anybody can defend for that amount of time. And I'm just focused on relationships. So I'm generally okay at trying to help, like getting defenses down, but people can hold it. And so like just takes a long time to break those defensive down. Whereas if you're in a room together for 8 hours, like that's a long time to keep those defensives up. And so a lot of the times, it's 16 hours, 24 hours. There's a 5-day one. So you're looking at 40 hours together, right? Like, so it's harder for people to keep those defenses up. And so those break down by middle of day one, end of day one. So day 2 and day 3, they're open and vulnerable with them and their wife. And it's just like there's so much healing that's done in that amount of time that it wouldn't be done week to week to week to week for months. And so it's like the equivalent of 6 to 9 months of therapy in a matter of 3 days. And so it's a beautiful thing to do, and it really helps move the needle a lot of getting things out and clearing up emotional capacity to be able to do the things differently in the relationship that you want to do logically, but emotionally you're not able to because you just don't have space for it. So again, it should be on your list of things to do. Not with me, but I'd love to see you and Sarah in an intensive for 3 days. See what that would be like.
Yeah, I'll pay to watch Jason and Sarah do it.
Right.
Like, can you get a dash cam and just let me watch that? But
right.
I will guzzle Mexican tap water before I do that shit.
You probably would anyway. Like, let's be honest.
I can't. No, we have enough open, honest, and raw conversations that doing that shit for 40 hours in 3, 4, 5 days is not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're in a different position. Go ahead,
I have follow-up questions to this practice because, like, you went there. So, who pays for lunch on those 8-hour days?
They pay for lunch.
Do you get a say in where you go to lunch on this?
Well, no, they don't pay for me for lunch. They go out and lunch. So they get a lunch break during the day. Like it's not like we're trapped in a room for all 8 hours. Like they get to go out for lunch to get a break. Because that would be like, if they didn't get some sort of break, it would be too much. But like, so there's a break in the middle of the day to go get some lunch, get out.
I have so many questions now to follow.
Go ahead.
Because this is a good intersection. So, okay. What do you do for lunch on these days? Like, because there's a part of me that's like, I couldn't eat a tuna sandwich like after doing this. Like, I'd either have to eat a really good or a really miserable lunch. So what are you having for lunch on these days?
So I actually just drink 2 protein shakes, like the Fairlife protein shakes, and maybe like a small snack. Like today I had 2 protein shakes and like a beef stick. Because like I don't want to, I'm going to be honest, right? I don't want to have to take a dump in the middle of a session.
Well, that's kind of what I want. Well, you got time.
Rock, let's just take a break real quick. I gotta go dump it out. I'm gonna keep it
But
going.
I'm so
I can hear you guys, so keep talking. I'll be back.
right, right. But I don't take quick dump.
He left to take one now, so
He did. He had to bail out. He was talking about my camera and my internet, but he had to bail.
He talked about it twice, and then he went off camera. It's okay though. You and me are going to hold this down like we
are.
have.
We're going to keep it trucking. That's what we do here on the MAJO Podcast.
All right. So, Jason, you've known Derek longer. Why does he hate his life so much that he locks himself in with couples for 8 hours?
He loves it.
But then, he's like, I need 2 protein shakes and
a beef stick.
I get he has like a poop issue, but his burps must
I would have the trauma lunch of a lifetime. Like, I would be back to my heaviest weight times probably 2 if I was doing, because I would just sit and just eat a miserable trauma lunch. I would just be pounding food all lunch.
See, I feel like I'm so regimented in everything that we do, like I do, that I would absolutely like sit down on that Saturday and be like, okay, here's how it's going to go down. We're going to talk from about 7 to 9. I'm going to power bomb coffee while you two tell me everything that's wrong with you. Then I'm going to take a hearty dump for about 9 and 9:10. Then from 9:10 to 9:20, just know I'm going to be texting everyone who texted me this morning back and telling them what I think of how you're doing so far.
That's the worst part about having therapist friends, is because Sarah's a therapist, he's a therapist, and I don't get to hear about any, like, he'll very vague generalities say stuff, but I don't ever get to know like the juicy beef that that they go through, because they didn't miss ethics class. So I just have to sit back and just assume what's going on, because they don't like to tell people's business. And I'm like, y'all are trash. So I just tell him, my version of intensive therapy is different. I just be like, if you just put out less, if you just talk more, it's all you need. Like,
right.
It's the perfect match to everybody's problems.
I mean, listen, if she would give more head and he would do more dishes, I wouldn't have a job, right? Like, that's what it boils down to.
I was not expecting that to be what you returned to, Derek. Thanks so much for joining your own show.
He's like, and I'm back.
Can we get that on a T-shirt for like mental health?
We need to.
I don't know who would be allowed to buy it. That's almost like a Hail Hydra level, like shirt. If that shirt came through the laundry, I promise you, I'm not having my genitals attached to me for very long. Like,
but like, the research does show that men who do more housework actually have more sex. Like, that's an actual research study that they did.
I need to get a coupon book then.
I was gonna say, I was not part of that research experiment, because trust and believe, I do all kinds of fucking housework.
Who is this survey by? 50 angry women?
50 angry women that doing shit, so they're just like, if you just do more.
I'm just telling you,
decide at the house in a leisurely manner. I don't know why they haven't fixed the fiscal gap in America. Man, like, so this is where you tell me you're not having an episode 4 and you're rebranding after this episode, right?
No, listen,
we don't do this often.
No, listen, I mean, so we haven't said this live on air yet, but
well, yeah, you're only on episode 3,
right? But MAJO is an acronym
for
married and jacking off. So
I wish I knew that before I agreed to be on here.
But it's jacking off like we messing around, right? Like it's married dudes messing around, right? So it's a play on the words. But that's what we want this show to be: fun, married dudes talking just, about anything.
We got to figure out like joyful observations, maybe. Like, joyful observations.
Married and joyful observations.
At least for the week that we do the promo work for this.
That's why it's never the tagline. That's why it's
right.
Just the MAJO, and we never speak about it unless like it
comes up like this.
Oh, it's like Fight Club.
Yeah, yep. You don't talk about Fight Club. Yeah,
is?
Yeah,
but
basically.
Am I obliged to tell them like by like therapist podcast guest confidentiality? Like, I don't know how we work. Like I I asked you like what you ate for lunch and you ran away. The next person was how does the bathroom work in these sessions? Like you don't go in break. No, I really want to know. Like,
Yeah.
do you go in
So
breaks, or like do they like tap out like a hall pass?
yeah, so I've actually been able to go like I go about and I drink a lot of water. Like you guys, Jason, like I'm a gallon and a half type a day. It doesn't matter intensive or not. What is going on with my equipment today? Anyway,
I don't know. You left your own show for like
man, I'm saying they're like we haven't had any issues, but then episode 3 wants to act up. Anyway, so I can go about 2.5, 3 hours without needing a bathroom break. But yeah, it's as simple as that. Like if we're in the middle of something and somebody needs to go pee, like they can, hey, can I go pee? Yeah, for sure. We'll take a little quick break and come right back to it.
Like, no, we're all going.
And that is what like if they want to break, like I'm going to take a pee. I'm going to pee too, right? Like.
But like, here's the thing. Like, so if you're working with a traditional, like, or like if you're working with male clients, do you both go to the bathroom at the same time or do you stagger?
It's a one person bathroom. So there's a woman's and a men's.
So who gets first dibs? Like
I give them first dibs. I give them.
See, I would give the professional first dibs because it's like I don't want like what if I have to poop, like I certainly don't want the guy determining if my marriage is safe to go after me. Like that's a horrible choice. And like also like if you are that person, I promise you when you're done going to the bathroom, I'll be like, yo, your poop does not stink, man. I followed tons of people in the bathrooms and you're the first dump I've never smelled.
No.
The fact that you think that determines whether your marriage survives is hilarious to me.
Like, do a research study.
No way this is going to work because you destroyed my bathroom, bro.
Right. You need to leave him ASAP.
I'm just saying that like I'm a man who eats like 250 grams of protein a day. Like I know what my GI tract does, and I know if you get on the 9:15 line, like there's that train comes through the tracks. You better watch. Like,
oh
no, I haven't had that experience yet. Most of the time, like I let them go first. The one I'm in now, he's actually like deferred to me to go first. But yeah, I haven't had that experience where I walked in. I did have that experience with another client a while back where I walked in after them, and I was like, oh my.
But you'd be like, we need to have a different conversation. Are you okay? Yeah. Have you been to the doctor?
Right. So back when I was like 350 pounds, I could still walk to my therapist. And this was during like I'm getting my life together.
Mm-hmm.
So that summer I would walk in and like, I hope he burned the couch because he did get a new couch after I got thinner. But like I came in full like summer flop sweat like everywhere, like and was just like, oh, I'm gonna use your bathroom and then sit for therapy for like 35 minutes. I was not good at therapy.
No. Why you say that? What was being good at therapy look like?
I'm flop sweating all over the couch, Eric. Like,
that's not.
It has nothing to do with my mental health. It has everything to do with the fact I'm a jerk. Like,
yeah, I can't say I want to be upset if somebody came in and did that to my couch.
Like, think about it. I'm coming in 2 strikes, and then you're going to tell me how to better my life? Like, you don't even need me to enter the room. Like, just be like, yo, that's not how people do things.
Right. This right here is what you got to do different.
Jason's seen me in person, like, quite often, where it's like, Rob, you cannot say or do that just because you think it's okay.
Well, at least you run it by me first. Like you have at least have the couth to do that. Like just be like, what if I just did this?
That only took 4 major events for me to realize I gotta run it by you before you do it. The answer's almost universally like maybe you say it a different way.
Maybe we reframe it just a little bit.
And then Sarah will usually go, I'll do one better. Maybe you don't say it at all. And then I'm like, oh.
I'm all for say it and see what happens. Even if we reframe it just a touch, and nothing bad's happened.
Yet. Debatable. Well, we'll add that to the list of things we talk about after we finish hitting record.
Yes.
So.
No, you got to face your fears of something bad happening to realize it probably won't happen. And if it does, it's actually not proof that it will, just so you know.
No, that's the problem is I realize like most of the times there's no major consequence of my actions, which are even worse.
Right, which
There
reinforces you
should
can
be a
keep doing this.
consequence of some of
Further
the
out on the limb.
Right.
Yeah, I
So,
finally understand why Skip Bayless got like how it is. Like, what's the craziest thing I could say? Okay, now what can I say in front of Stephen A. Smith to get him angrier?
mm,
Like,
that
you
guy.
know, it's how do you do this?
That is Skip's way of getting famous, is saying the most outlandish crap and getting a reaction from everybody.
Yeah.
Hmm. We need to start doing that. Maybe that's a part of what we do to get more viewership. We just start saying
No,
outlandish stuff.
really, like the playlist is you should just make SEO like friendly, like trigger bait or like clickbait. So it could be something like, I'm trying to think how we go. Give me a sec. Okay, here we go.
All right.
The one thing that holds men back from going from a dad bod to 100% jacked isn't what you think it is. Most people think it has something to do with how the hip to shoulder ratio works, when in reality, you couldn't handle the next thing I'm about to tell you. It's back muscles.
Mm.
And then you pause and then you go into like a whole nother thing and just go into right?
that gets them in, huh?
I promise you, we'll make like do your magic clips for this episode. And just because I yelled louder and I waved my finger and I have the pauses, I guarantee you'll get like the best way to go from dad bod to jacked. And at 35 minutes, we finally like at least brought up the subject you brought me on to.
Yeah.
So we got that going for us.
We got that going for us. That was a great transition, though. That was the most unorganic transition we could have had to move into the conversation. So
I hope that you share that with everyone else when they're like, should we bring Rob on a podcast? Be like, well, he's the most inorganic, organic guest that you could ever have. It's like It's like Tom Cruise trying to show he's a human being. Like it's like he studied what people do in these situations, and he's really trying his best to do it.
right.
But it doesn't look right.
Right. So speaking of dad bods.
Yes, I do have one. Thank you.
I think I do too. So I guess I'm curious because this has kind of been something that's kind of hit me over the last few years, especially. I've talked to Jason a little bit about it too last year at retreat, but like, I guess for you two, we've been obviously have different paths, just body wise and stuff like that. I guess when was there ever a moment that body image hit you harder than you had expected it to hit you? Like, just like more, it was the hardest moment I think of the body image hit you guys.
I'm gonna let you go, Rob.
Oh, I was going to let you go because I feel like I keep hopping. So, I get body image is such a tough thing. And I think I wish I could tell you because when I really go back, there's 8 or 9 times where I was like, my body has completely failed me. And I told myself I would change and I just didn't. Like, I got kicked off a children's amusement park ride and I said, that was enough. And then I gained like 20 to 30 more pounds. I went on my honeymoon and it took 3 divers to actually hoist me back into the boat after snorkeling. And I said, I'm never going to get bigger than this. And I gained more weight from there. It's tough. I think you feel the shame or guilt in the moment. But as it fades, like, so does the energy to change yourself on that. So it's tough to say, is there a defining moment? I think for me, it was like 8 or 9 different ones. And it finally took for them to be like, hey, you're going to die. Like that was the boundary that finally reeled me in. And I think if anyone listened to the first 35 minutes, I try to push the boundary a little bit, but it's like, that doesn't necessarily make you a great human being or a healthy person through all that.
Yeah. I battled. It was very hard because a lot of people in the bariatric space that Rob and I do a lot of work in is they've had a lot of images, like body image issues their whole life. They've either had, extra weight, overweight, morbidly obese forever. I didn't have that. Like I wasn't part of that group. I actually was pretty okay until 2007, I think it was when I first started having real bad health issues, and I gained 100 pounds, 130 pounds in like 7 months. I just
Oh, wow.
ballooned up. And I started really like locking into what was going on, had no idea what was happening. But the funny thing is when I look back at pictures and I think that kind of on the way up, I was like, well, I can think of times post-op where I lost weight down to where I was either still just a little bit heavier or not as heavy in some of the pictures that I had where I hadn't reached my heaviest yet. And I almost look bigger then than I do now. And it just the image to me has always been kind of weird because I've never like I would always dabble in working out, or I would go do there, dabble in diets, dabble in trying to get fit, dabble in trying to get better. But much like with what Rob said, like I was faced with finally at 468 pounds where my mobility was gone. Like my wife was putting my socks on, she was trimming my toenails. There was shit that I just couldn't do as a not even as a man, as a human, as an adult. Like not being able to take care of myself was something that I never envisioned happening. I wasn't able to play with my kids. I went to my daughter's college graduation and I look at those pictures and I'm just like, I was horrified at the way I looked because there weren't other dads that looked like me. Like I looked bigger. I was bigger than everybody. And I remember like we went to her college. So we're in the stadium. We go to we ended up having to go like damn near to the very top to get our seats. And I remember telling everybody, I said, look, if this bitch catches fire, you just leave me here because I'm not going back down. Like I'm nothing could get me down from here. So and I look at those things and those are the times that it hits me the hardest, not because of the image that I connect with, but it's the pain. It's what I couldn't do. It's how I couldn't show up for my kids, my family, any of those things. So I knew that when my primary care physician told me at 44 years old that I was actively dying as I was sitting in her office, like there was parts of my body that were shutting down. Like I wasn't going to, if I kept up with the rate that I was going, that there was no way I was probably going to see 45, 46, let alone 50. And I just had my first granddaughter, and she basically in no uncertain terms was like, you talk about being a family, you talk about your family a lot and what they mean to you, but do you want to be here for them? Like, is there something there's got to be more to what you want out of life than what's going on right now. And so the image to me has always more connected with what I was able to and not able to do and how it affected those around me more than it is just for me to say, oh, I don't like the way I looked there.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think for me, I've never had to worry about that until I started having knee issues in my 30s, right? Like because I always for me, I burn like 2,500 calories a day just living, just existing. I could sit all day and still burn like 2,500 calories just because of how big I am, right? Like I've actually done it where I've like tracked it over the course of a few days and like not done anything, and it's like legit 2,250 to 2,500 easy. And then you add in basketball on top of that, like for the majority of my life, or just being active like in a high level competitively so I could eat anything I wanted to. And I remember when I was 12, I was 14. Like we were at a CC's and they were like, let's see who can eat the most pizza. And I'm 6'4" at 14, probably around 200 pounds. And I put away 40 pieces of pizza. Like I could always
awesome.
eat. I could, right? Like,
that's really impressive.
Right. Like I could, like that when that was me. And I was
Because have you ever tasted Cece's pizza? Like, Yeah, you're telling me at 24 you were like, I gotta keep going.
Because they said you can't keep going, you can't keep going. I mean, I kept going. Now I was sick afterwards. Like I definitely had the stomach ache and I didn't throw up though, but I did feel sick. But that was like, so pride was a part of that, right? Like, you won't keep going, you won't. That's got me in so much trouble in my life. But anyway, and so, but like, I think at 12, like there was one time at McDonald's, just to show off, I ate like 2 Big Mac meals, couple cheeseburgers, like a smoothie. Their smoothie machine was actually working that day. Like I have been that dude that could just eat and eat and eat.
I was gonna say that's how I could tell that story was alive. You know the ice cream machine doesn't work.
I'm like, that it was working that day.
I don't even know what one you go to, and I know it's broke.
Right. That's why it's like, no, it was working that day, promise. But anyway, so like, and then playing basketball, like, so I could eat anything and be good because I'd burn it off, right? And then it would come like that, after my first knee surgery, I went from I think I was like 265, 270, and I got to 314 after that knee surgery. And so I got back down to about 290, 295, hurt my knee again. And then by the time I was done rehabbing that knee, my other knee was so shot from compensating that I had to get a third knee surgery. And so like after it's all said and done, like at my heaviest, I got to like 360, 356, 356. And I think that, it was still like in my mind, like the biggest battle that I've had, I think, is thinking that I can still eat how I used to, and like having that like organizing principle in my mind of like, I can still eat 20 wings and be straight, and it's not like that anymore. But my mind thinks it is. So I'll eat and like I'm 10, 12 in, and it's like, bro, I'm full, but there's 8 left. Like, you need to eat that. Like, there, you don't be you know what I'm saying? And so
100%. Yeah.
and so it came to a point where my knees are hurting so bad, and then I guess I think it's just looking at the picture in the mirror, and it's like, image in the mirror, and it's like, good Lord, like, this is like what's happened. You know what I'm saying? And therapy doesn't necessarily help. Being a therapist and doing the business I had, in that as well, in the cannabis business, trying to, work on things, like I sit all the time. And so it's easy just to get in this routine of sitting, coming home emotionally exhausted, making a reason not to go to the gym, and just keep on going like that. And I think it was really my knees. And then it's like, I'm so heavy, my knees hurt all the time, that I try to go to the gym and my knees hurt so bad, and it sucks afterwards because my knees hurt worse. And it's just like this negative reinforcement of like, yeah, the gym's not fun to go to, even though I feel good in the moment. It's like my knees are hurt afterwards. And so I think it's been over like the last probably 6 years that this has that it's really started to impact me, because I can't get it off like I used to. And it's like, I'm in a different realm. And I think there was this this video I watched, and it was what's the NBA player's name? John, is it John Staley? John
Daily?
Maybe
John
Dale.
Wall.
No, he was an older cat. He played with
Judge?
Kobe. No,
You talking
he's
about John
older.
Sally?
Sally, thank you. Yeah.
John Sally.
And he's like, he said, men who are 6'10" and up have a 50% chance of living past 60. Only a 50% chance of living past 60. And because your heart goes out, your heart just, it's done after a certain amount of time, because you're so much bigger, it's having to work so much harder. And so I think that was like my defining moment a few years back when I saw that, and I really got into, and coming up on 40, I'm 43 now, like a couple months before my 40th birthday, it hit me too, where I'm like, I'm about to be 40. And then so yeah, I think those were a couple defining moments for me, where it just was like, bro, what is happening? Like, I've never been this heavy. I've never been this out of shape, and I can't get back in shape like I used to. And so it's been that struggle for me since then.
I
Go ahead.
think it's very common from coaching clients is It is a very common pattern, like for people who have had bariatric surgery and have gone on where it's like they know what to do, they know exactly how to manage everything, but then some aspect of life happens where it's an injury or a life situation that all of a sudden it derails or throws off the rhythm. And that can really cause a lot of where the weight gain comes. And then if you have an injury, it does kind of cause this cyclical pattern where it's, well, if I can't really work out, what's the point of keeping my nutrition? Well, if I'm not keeping track of my nutrition, I might as well go completely off the rails and eat whatever I want. And then because I'm completely going off the rails and gaining weight, it's that much harder to go back to the gym. So that
Mm-hmm.
cycle is very, very common. And it's something that gets even scarier because when we get to that stage, where we want to go back to the gym, especially as we get older, we say like, okay, well, what do we know that has gotten the weight off in the past that's worked? And a lot of the times it's either grueling exercise that we remember from high school,
Mm-hmm.
endless hours of cardio from either being forced to run laps or do anything else. And unfortunately, as you get older, there is a little bit of a less is more and more efficient is better that most people don't have. So it's like, even if you know you need to make the change and you're willing to make the change, knowing how to make the change can be the next thing that holds it up. It's why I think even working with a coach for 3 months to be like, okay, if this is the cycle, let me get you out of this cycle and at least get you into a pattern to help. And even when we like work with our injured athletes and clients, it's keeping them on a routine after the injury so that that spiral doesn't happen. And I'm personally dealing with it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the positive things that you do, that you and I talk about all the time, as far as, because my worst thing about me is I'll hit the gym 5 days a week, but my kitchen game is trash most of the time. Like I can stay on pretty accurate for a chunk of time, but there's times I just decide to say piss on it. I'm just gonna do whatever. But the thing about you is you can tell me what you're eating on October 12th of 2027 because your calendar is nuts. And that to me, the regiment of that sounds exhausting. But when I said that to you, one of the things you told me that made me think about it is it's exhausting in the beginning because you just have to set it up and then you just let it rotate. Like, so in the beginning, and it's the same thing with all of this. It's the same thing with getting a gym routine down. It's the same thing with nutrition. It's the same thing with any kind of exercise. It's always rough in the beginning because you just have to lay out the framework. And then after that, you can just multiply what you're doing and continue to go on. Like, you helped me with my gym routine because when I went back to the gym, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I knew what I did when I was like, 20, but
Yeah.
I'm, 40 years old now. Like, I need, or 40, 48, 49 now. I'm like, I need to be able to build. I don't want to waste my time in there. I have limited amounts of time. I want to make it all count. And then you and I have worked to not only set that up, but to continue to morph that as time has gone on and things are starting to change. Like, it's just about the fact that, once you get the most initial framework down, it's easy to multiply off of it.
And I think that's, really important to understand is like what got you results at 20 is not necessarily what's going to get you results at 40 or even 50. And just knowing like, okay, how do we adjust this? Because the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make in the gym is, if you grew up and you are of a certain age, when Rocky was on TNT, they would show the montages of all the workouts. So you think people need to do all of those things within a 5-minute span and end up making these grueling, like 2-hour workouts on themselves. When in reality, like you can really get an amazing workout 3 days a week at anywhere from like 45 to 60 minutes.
Mm.
But on that happy note, I will let Jason play his favorite game. Jason, name a date in the last year and we'll go through my tracker just to show that I can still do it.
In the last year, okay, so we'll say
Just pick a random
April 20th of 2025.
4/20/2025. I'm sure. Sunday, April 20th. Oh, this is like embarrassingly bad.
I picked the worst date.
You really did? Because I'm pretty sure that was Easter.
Oh, shit.
So I have my
That
breakfast
was
in
Easter.
here. It was, because here's how I can tell what it was. I had breakfast, liquid egg whites, 200 grams, egg yolks, 50 grams, 4 slices of Canadian bacon. So I set the base with that right off the bat. And then I had 3 peanut butter Reese eggs is the last.
Mm.
But here's an example. Like, let's go to the day before, that's Saturday, April 17th. This is a really good example where I had protein chocolate chip pancakes for breakfast. I had bison chili for lunch. I had flank steak over lettuce for my afternoon snack. And then I had 2 chicken patties for dinner. So it's like, yeah, that was my Saturday leaning in to Easter. But it's also like, not every day is perfect. Like, I don't think people need to understand, like, yeah, I have dumpster fire days too. I track it so we get the overall calories. I own it and I just move on.
Mm.
Like, so this idea of you have to be perfect in your fitness journey, total crock.
Well, and the cool thing that you told me when we started this about tracking and stuff is the bites, licks, and taste rules, because I
Yeah.
never even try, like when I'm tracking, none of that shit's going in there. But
No.
when you were like, if you really want an accurate picture of what goes into your body, everything that crosses your lips has to go on the tracker. Like, and it may not make a damn bit of difference, but it still gives you the most accurate view of what it is you're putting into your body.
I think it's one of the common tracking mistakes that I see, because I hear it a lot of like, I'm tracking every single day and I'm not losing weight and I'm eating 1,200 calories and I'm not losing weight. And tracking doesn't necessarily have you lose weight. Like, when I was 365 pounds, I knew that I was eating 20,000 calories a day. Doesn't mean I'm losing weight if I'm eating that much, but it at least gives you the look. But when you look at all of that and kind of get a feel for it, you see that, like, yeah, the bites, licks, and tastes add up, but like, you kind of have to own those results. So for a lot of the times when I see a 1,200 calorie person come up to me and I'm like, I don't see any Doritos or alcohol on here. Like, are you like Mormon, or like, what is the deal that you have going with this? But like, it does add up, and it's one of those. I'm trying to think how best to put it. I've seen it more often where people will come to me for consults and be like, I'm doing everything right. And it's that you're trying to check 15 boxes.
Mm.
Right.
Whereas instead, if I can get you to do 3 things really well, we can let the other 12 go away. And the
Mm.
biggest problem I see is people then saying like, well, then I'll lose my streak, or I won't close this ring, or I won't do that. And it's like, well, okay, like, if you want to play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. Thank you, Taylor Swift. But like, for everyone else, it's like finding out like what actually moves the needle for each client, and then being like, I need you to dial these 3 in, or just admit we're kind of in maintenance for this point.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the things, like when you and I talked about it, I was under the assumption that I was doing the right things post-op as far as like my food goes. Like, we talked about it and you're like, okay, we'll throw it in the tracker and then we'll meet again and we'll see what's up. And for my breakfast, I was assuming, I was like, yeah, 3 eggs and eating some, some rice with it and some things. Like, yeah, I put a little cheese in there and maybe a strip of bacon or 2, not a big deal. Like, right. And then we go back and we look at it. It had gone from my normal, like, I don't know, however many hundreds of calories, that like this shit turned out to be like almost my day, instead of being at, you know, 2,000 calories. I think I was supposed to be at. I'm at 4,300 calories because my breakfast is obscene. And he's like, yeah, we got to adjust this and move this. And this is what, so even when you think you're doing the things the right way, you just add a little extra here, or add something to substitute something there. You think it's not that big of a deal, but it can legitimately creep up 2,300 calories worth. And I had no idea that I was doing that until I, had that conversation and started tracking with it. But it's also just as crazy as it seems to get it started. Those things are easy to fix. And that's what a lot of people they look at it as this big mountain that they have to climb. And you look, and it's the same kind of thing that I look at it like. One of my favorite analogies of all time is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that like you look at it as in totality, when really you just pick one thing, like Rob said, you take one thing, do it really well, do another thing, do it really well. you habit stack those things until what seemed like impossible turns into the very possible, and you're actually doing it. Like, I never thought I'd be a year strong in the gym going 5 days a week like I've been doing. And now I can send Rob progress pictures and he's like, "Holy shit, look at your back." And I'm like, "Yes, I am. That's pretty cool." And now I'm starting to see differences and changes in my body that I haven't seen. So, when we're on that whole body image thing, like, my body image has changed so much that now I'm almost, well, luckily I don't bother Sarah with it anymore because she gets annoyed with it. But I'm pretty insufferable to myself anytime I pass by a mirror, like in the bathroom or whatever. And I'm like, "Damn, check that out! Like, look at that!" Like, I bug her sometimes.
It's
And I'm
that's
like,
part of the weight loss is
"Oh
like
yeah,
any mirror now becomes my own runway.
oh yeah."
Well,
No,
that
'cause, like, I bug her all the time. I'm like, "Feel this, feel my tricep," and she's like, "Yeah, it's pretty hard." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right."
well,
But
that's go ahead, Rob.
yeah, just to kind of like finish with what Jason's saying there is, um, like our coaching program is probably one of the unsexiest coaching programs out there. And I say that in the best way possible. Of Jason can show you our workout. There's nothing crazy on it. It's just we're going to do these 4 or 5 exercises as hard as we can in this order and challenge it at this level. And then we're just going to do the work over and over again. When we do our nutrition plans for our clients, like there's no like 30-day metabolic reset or like fast hash, or even like we're going to retool your macros. It really is like we're going to see what you're eating naturally, and then we're gently going to change the thermostat like on each meal a little bit so that it's still the same food but just in different portions.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's my like one of my struggles is like, and it goes into the next question that's on my mind of like, you said like you can do a really good workout for 45 to 60 minutes 3 times a week, and I think for me it's like I want to get in there and I'm like I want to do so much work and get the changes faster than if I just did it 3 days a week. Like it doesn't feel like enough. And so like, and then it's like this cycle. Like if I only get in 2 days a week or 3 days a week, I'm like, fudge, like that was a wasted week. And so then like next week I'm going in with this shame and I'm like, well, if you can't get in all 5 days this week, then there's no point of going. And so it's like and then I'm in the gym and I'm working and it's like, you got to keep going. You got to get a whole body deal in. You got to burn 800 something calories. You got to like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's this whole deal. And it's like this cycle because, and this goes into the question of like, how does not being in shape impact confidence, like in marriage, intimacy, or just as a dad? And I think that's a lot of it of like me not being in shape has an impact on the confidence. Like, and I'm like, I want to get that. I want to be back in shape. I want to be back in shape, but then I can't get back in shape. I can't get back in shape. And it just feeds that cycle.
Can I give what I noticed specifically with both men and female
Mhm.
clients? Because this is kind of what we pride ourselves in is so many times I think when I start with a client, they have this vision of the end.
Mm.
And the end, whether we want to admit it or not, is we want to look great naked.
Mhm.
Like we want to be able to come out of the shower and have some sort of look and feel like proud or I did that work. That's
Mhm.
almost everyone who I work with. Like if we really get into it, it's like I want to have like either the bikini bod, the bathing suit bod, or anything else. And rightfully so. That's an amazing goal to have.
Mhm.
I think the problem is people think that's step 2 or 3 when in reality it's step 27 or 28.
Mm.
And they're sitting there on day 1 saying, I have to get bikini ready by the summer. And I have to be the one to tell them, like, I probably can't get you bikini ready by summer of 2026. I
Mm.
need you to think of like 2027, and we're going to gently do this in a way so that you hold your result for life, because I
Mm.
can technically get you bikini ready for 2026 by putting you on a super restricted diet, triple down everything else and see how it goes. But you're probably going to gain all that weight back. The best clients are the ones who realize, like, yes, I'm at step 1. I do not need you to do a 3-hour workout 5 days a week. I need you to show up 3 days a week and crush it. So that
Mm.
if you miss on Tuesday, you can still say, okay, I'm going to go Wednesday and Thursday, and then I can still make up Friday on the other end. So I think that's the big thing that we see a lot of people have trouble with is this idea that I'm gonna have like the bikini bod or the swimsuit bodybuilder physique in a 6-month plan when in reality, like it takes years to develop that.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, and it's, one of the things that I've learned by going in and working on the routine is I was one of those people that figured that I have to go 5 days a week. If I don't go 5 days a week, I'm going to realize that it's really nice to not go, and I'm going to take some breaks in there, and I'm going to take some rest days that I may not need, but I may need. And for me, I I worry that I'll get to a point where I'll stop going altogether because, the sleep is really good, and I really, if I don't work till 8:30, I can get up at 8:25, walk down the hallway and be at work, and that extra sleep is pretty cool. However, I feel better when I get up at 5 o'clock, 5:15, take my ass to the gym, put in my 55 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes, depending on which day. If it's my chest day, I can get done in about 55 minutes if I don't dick around between sets. And my back and bicep days go a little bit longer, so I'm about an hour 15 in there. And I just feel better when I do it. Like if I don't go, I get the sleep. But the sleep, honestly, is not as good when I don't go to the gym in the like I would rather be tired from doing the stuff. My whole day goes better and my body reacts better when I go. So while my knee's been jacking up lately and I've been having to take some rest days because I can't necessarily manipulate the machines the way that I need to with my knee all swole up, I don't like it because it's frustrating for me because I know what I need to be doing, what I want the end result to be. And so cutting it down to 3 days a week is frustrating, like what Derek is saying. But at the same time, getting back into it and making sure that you're adjusting your body for what hurts you and limits you from being able to go back. Like since my knee's been jacked up, you ain't seen a leg day out of me in forever. So full body workouts, no, absolutely not. I'm not doing it. I'm focusing on upper body. I'm focusing on anything that I can do that's going to continue the progress, that's not going to hinder me from being able to go. Because my knee's already aggravated as it is. It's swollen. There's fluid on it. I can barely limp my ass around the gym. So I'm going to do those things, but I'm going to continue to press and push and do upper body and all the things that I can do and manipulate some of the workouts. Like I can't do kneeling rows right now because my knee's jacked up. So
Yeah.
I do bent over rows. I just adjust the seat in such a way that I can still do the row. It just looks a little different.
Mm.
But I know what my body feels like when I go, and I know what it feels like when I don't. And so there's a lot less rest days, and the thought of how I used to be, where I would get to a point where I'd be like, Jim, I don't even know a guy named Jim, let alone go to one. Like I don't do that anymore because I know what I want to look like and what I want to feel like, and I know what I don't. So
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's something that I have to, like, I know it logically, like, I don't need to be in here for an hour and a half. Like, there was, like, when I had turned 40 and I was really working out, and before I hurt my knee and it got me all out of my routine, like, there was sometimes I was going twice a day for an hour and a half. Like, I was, like, in that, and I'm like, this isn't what I need to be doing, but it was just like, I need that result, I need that result, and right before my knee and my hurt my knee, like, I'd hit a plateau where it was, like, 321, 322, and I couldn't get under 320, and it was, like, so discouraging because I was working so hard, and I don't think I was eating enough, and so I think I was in depletion so long, like, if something had messed me up or whatever, to where my body was like, "No, I'm not burning anything else," or whatever, because I just could not drop, and I was tracking, um, and it was just so discouraging, and then my knee popped just doing something stupid, and it was just like that, like, threw me out of that cycle I was in, because I felt all those things, the better sleep, better, better energy during the day, better mental clarity, like, I was feeling all those things, and then, like, I did that for, like, 9 months straight, like, every day, 5 days a week, even on the weekends, I'd go on a walk, like, I was doing it, and then when that knee hurt my knee, I was just like, it just threw me all out of it, and I'm like, "What's the point of doing 9 months worth of work if in 9 months my knee's gonna mess up on me again?" Like, it's just like this discouraging deal, and so it's been hard to fight that, to get back into the gym, and then also accept, like, no, you don't need to do this an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. You can be okay with 60 minutes 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And so that's the outside. I know that we're running long on this episode, so I want to get to the inside, right? So what
I feel
the
like we
way
still have so much more to cover. Like
right,
when you were like, "Here's what we're
right.
covering the episode," I'm looking at him like, "Oh man, we did not check any of these boxes." So
Yeah, no, it's all good though. It's all good. I think it's a good conversation because I think a lot of people get focused, and even in the mental health field, like a lot of people don't realize, a lot of time carrying weight is a sign of emotional struggle. Like gaining weight, being overweight, there's a lot of emotional things that go into that are actually the root cause of it. And so, think talking about all this outside stuff, I'm curious your guys' perspective on the inside weight that we carry. And so, like thinking for you two, what kind of baggage do you think that you all brought into marriage and and fatherhood without realizing, like internal baggage,
Go ahead, Rob.
oh, what bag? Um,
emotional baggage,
Emotional baggage I brought into my relationship or into
Mm,
weight loss surgery.
marriage and fatherhood without realizing it until later? Like,
Oh, I'm a horrible, horrible person. Um, I don't think no, in all seriousness, like if you really like reflect at 25-year-old Rob, I had a very unhealthy relationship with food, alcohol, money, gambling. Um, my relationship with myself was probably like if you really want to go through, um, like I was not a smart 26-year-old. And then by the time I was a parent, just add on the fact that I continued to drink and eat heavier.
mm,
So I was probably a worse parent than I was an initial husband, but neither was great. When I really look at my like habits, patterns, and behaviors, a lot of that stemmed from the fact I just was not happy with myself or feeling in need of inadequacy. Can you tell I've like been doing a lot of therapy lately because
mm-hmm,
you're
mm-hmm.
getting like the really if anyone wants to just give me a fly swatter and I can just like go and do the full Catholic self-flagellation. Um, but yeah, like I think something that I've had to learn in my experience and from fatherhood and relationships is I don't think anyone gets into fatherhood or relationship and says, I'm really trying to hurt other people.
Mm,
Um, but unfortunately, it does happen. And I think it's probably one of the more difficult parts to realize. But also something that like it takes years, decades, and lifetimes to figure out and heal. And
mhm,
I hope that I've caught most of my habits, patterns, behaviors early enough that I can do more good than harm that I have, but I can't sit here saying I'm a great husband or father. I'm better than I was yesterday. Uh, but that Jason, whenever you're ready to jump in, like go ahead, buddy.
No,
no,
I don't know that any of us were smart 26-year-olds.
Yeah.
To
mm,
be honest,
Did
like
you hear all the Best Buy stories we opened up with? Like,
I I mean I met Sarah. I had been just long-term relationships before. I was always a long-term relationship guy. Like I wanted to be with somebody. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have that. Like I had been through it before I met Sarah. And when I met Sarah at 24, about to be 25, I think was when yeah. 24 is when we met. And I was a complete moron. Like I didn't know anything about anything. I'd never tried to be anybody's dad. I was a spoiled ass kid growing up. Like I had a brother. I wasn't an only child. Like I had a brother, but we were so fucking spoiled. We might as well have been only children because we
mm,
each got like they had to buy everything in duplicate because we didn't share shit. Like there
oh,
was
like
no
the
sharing.
Chewbacca masks and Step Brothers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Except both of ours were movie quality because they knew better. Like
Oh wow.
it was that
Wow. That's how you know your parents loved you.
every picture that we have growing up is legitimately like from Christmas is double of everything. Double big wheels, double NASCAR, like double slot car tracks, double everything.
mm,
But if you want to learn like DiMedio trauma 101, like the DiMedio household was like there was always one slightly better than the other gift. Like they were matching, but one was slightly better based on whose gift it was. So it was, but like you were sat down at like 6 and being like, look, you're Ninja Turtles, like you got Michelangelo, which nobody really chooses as their first Ninja Turtle, but
I
you're
did.
not really Ninja Turtle. Well, maybe you did, but like in our household, you're wrong, by the way, Derek. We'll do power rankings at the end of this, but it was like, look, you got the slightly less, or you got like a Ninja Turtle where it was like, or like amphibious frog, like karate master. And it was like, well, like Ninja Turtles is your brother's gift, but here's something close to it to keep you happy, but that's not the real gift. But
That's
we were always
horrible, bro.
because that wasn't your. Wow, is it though? Because like at least then you know exactly what it was. Because it's like, oh, I got like the Ghostbusters like backpack, and my brother got like ghost capture net with plastic bagging. But that was
Well,
the slight.
it wasn't horrible for you. It was horrible for your brother. It sound like if you're the one getting the legit stuff and he's getting the knockoffs.
The person who liked the gift got the legit one, and the other one got the knockoff of it. So like,
Okay.
it's not like we were. It's not like my dad was like putting cigarettes out on us every Christmas. He at least waited till New Year's for that. No, my dad doesn't smoke. I promise. So, but anywho, this is why I never get asked back to it. I'm always like the top 5, like, let's get him on the show. And it's always like that he never returns. But no,
you're going to come back.
No, that's what I'm afraid of. I try to get tagged out of these things. So. No. But long story short, like DiMedios are like, no, this is like your token gift so you don't lose your ish. This is the big gift for this person. But then your big gift comes around and like they get the mediocre one.
Well, at least it was a trade-off.
It was fair.
I mean, I legit like I was spoiled as shit when Sarah came along, and she just, you know, I had a lot of growing up to do in ways that I had no idea about. Like I didn't know anything. Like I lived with my parents when I was like 24 years old. I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to do anything. And finally I was just like, you know, I got mad at my mom one time over something stupid and was like, I better get my own place. Like I was punishing her. She was like, all right, bye.
Yeah,
like,
she won that one.
Yeah. She was like, well, gee, no, stop, wait, don't go. And you know, getting into my own spot and then having to figure out, like, I didn't know how to life. Like, I didn't know how to adult at 24 years old. And then I meet her and we're talking like, and she's already got, you know, my daughter was 5 years old at that time. And here I'm stepping into a completely different situation. I go from, you know, being a spoiled ass kid to trying to raise a kid at the same time. And there was a lot of growing up to do. I was irresponsible on so many levels. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to be a good man to her, a good father to my daughter. Like I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. So I went from 0 to 100 real quick. So the fact that we're about to make 25 years married, 26 together is wild to me because I've given this woman a laundry list of reasons to leave my ass behind, time and time again. And, you know, like Rob would say, like financially irresponsible. Like I've done some of the dumbest shit alive. Like she should have been like left me behind and let me just figure it out for my damn self. But, you know, I never really thought about it in that way until later. Like we did kind of premarital counseling with this, you know, with the person that married us.
The priest?
Yeah, well, because I'm not Catholic, so he wasn't a priest, but he was a preacher. I guess we did the Baptist preacher thing, so you know, hell's fire, damnation, all those things.
Do you still have to do like we have pre-Cana in the Catholic Church, and it's the biggest crock that you get. Like it's almost like here's what if you wanted to ruin a marriage. Like you actually, Derek, you should go to pre-Cana and just be like, look, you're probably going to need me like 7 months into your marriage and just hand out.
Just shopping, just be out there like ambulance chasing.
That's where I need to start advertising.
Do you struggle with shame, guilt, and communicating your needs? Congratulations. Not only are you a great Catholic, but you're a prime candidate to do a 3-day weekend with Derek.
Therapy.
He's going to drink
right.
2 protein shakes and eat a beef steak in front of you.
Yeah, no, I mean, we did premarital counseling. One of the best things we learned from that situation was how to fight fair. Like, cause it's not about bringing up old shit. It's not about, but the funny thing is we went through that, we learned it and then forgot all about it. So we're trashing each other just for no fucking reason. Anytime we get upset, just who cuts deepest, who cuts first, who, you know, all those things. And it took us having to take a step back and say, oh, remember what we learned before? Like, let's explore that a little bit and only talk about the shit that's happening right now. Like, if you're really upset with me, I need to know why and I need to know when. I don't need you to sit on it for a couple of days and then come at me and go, well, you're an asshole because of this. Oh, and 6 months ago, you didn't take the trash out when I told you to. So that's why you're an asshole. I've been thinking about this and now it's festered up into something different. But it was learning those things and growing up with, basically we kind of raised each other in that sense of how to be together. And she taught me a lot about how to be a parent. And I was fortunate enough for her to be patient enough to let me be an immense screw up and not just bail on me when I've given her every chance to do so and every reason to do so.
Jason,
Absolutely.
blink twice if Sarah's right off screen.
No.
Oh, wow. He means it, people. This is great. For those of you watching on YouTube, he didn't blink, so.
No, she's not. She's in the room behind closed doors. She's awake.
No, I think that you bring up a good thing though, Jason, and like what's missing today in a lot of relationships, and I'm going to get back to the baggage piece of this though, it is just that willingness to allow people to grow. Like we're so in this like individual focus, like I need to be happy. It's about me and my emotions and I need my space, that like we give up on, it seems like people give up on their partners really quickly. Instead of giving them space to like, this is a mistake. They're human. They're trying to figure it out just like you are. And so now, and again, let me caveat this so that we don't get canceled on episode 3. I'm not talking about domestic violence situations or any of the extreme things like that. I'm talking about normal relationships, intimate relationships. So let me make sure I caveat that. You're talking anyway. So, right. Yeah. So I think that people give up a lot.
That's the beauty of my shows is like nobody listens, especially after the 35-minute mark that all the data shows. So I can say whatever I want and be like, man, it's out there.
Right. Right. And so anyway, I think that for me too, because, Sheena and I just celebrated 25 years back in June. And, we've been married since we were 17. And so she's given me a lot of grace and forgiven me for a lot of things and vice versa. Right. Like, but I think the baggage that I brought in, and it was something that you said, Rob, that sparked this was the feeling of inadequacy. And I actually just made this kind of revelation the other day in therapy. Matter of fact, side note, if your therapist doesn't have a therapist or ain't been in therapy, run. So I still see a therapist once a week because I need to work on my own stuff. And something that we uncovered was like the things that I was most worried about and most upset about in my kids was me, the parts of me that I saw in them. And so like my oldest daughter and my son, like they got the brunt of it, most of it, because it was like, I've had my feelings of inadequacy about things. I have my shame about things, and I wanted to correct and fix those things in them so that they weren't anything like me. And they don't know this, and I don't know. I'm 17 when we have our first kid, right? Like, and you're talking about being 24, living at mom's house. Like at 25, we had 5 kids and had a mortgage, right? And so like I'm living life early, and which is a lot of responsibility for when your brain's not even fully developed for one. And so like I'm parenting from a place of shame and feelings of inadequacy without even recognizing it. And and that's the baggage I brought. And then I'm taking that out on Sheena as well. Like, she tries to say something and it reminds me of, my, issues with my mom or whatever. And again, this is all subconscious. This is stuff that therapy had to bring out. Right. So I'm not knowing this. And I'm like angry at her for her just saying, something simple as like, hey, maybe you shouldn't punch a hole in the wall like that. Like, who you ain't gonna tell me how to be a man. Like, I run this house. Right. Like, it's just, so I think thinking about the baggage bringing in without realizing it, and why therapy is really beneficial is I brought in that baggage of shame and inadequacy and trying to make sure my kids didn't do the things I was ashamed of, which were, at the end of the day, the more I've dug into it, it's been more developmental things, and I was shamed for developmental things. that it was normal for me as a kid to do at a certain age, I was shamed for those things. And being bigger, I was the one that I stood out amongst everybody, right? And so like I couldn't do anything without getting shame or getting, guilted about doing stuff that everybody else was doing. So anyway, so bringing that baggage in, like for sure took that out on my kids and my wife early on until I started really getting into therapy and getting that help to uncover these things. And so it's been a huge shift with that. Um, there was a question that I want to ask you, Rob, about something, but my brain looked at the time was like, crap, we're coming on an hour and a half. So, um,
These are the good
let
episodes. Just be mindful, like every Sopranos episode is under 50 minutes. So just if we're gauging like where we are in the quality of content, like
right. So let me ask this question for about the internal baggage stuff or have you ever
season
had?
3, The Pine Barrens. That's the best Sopranos episode.
Okay, all
Where
right, I'm gonna
Paulie
mark that
and
down.
yeah, they get lost in the woods. Oh, it's great. Yes.
So has there been a moment, and the moment popped in my head from with my one of my twins, but has there ever been a moment where you realize, like in the moment you're dealing with your kids, you're angry about some or your wife, and you're like, this isn't about today. This is about old stuff that I've actually never dealt with. Have you ever had a moment like that?
Every day for the last 13 years,
Mm.
like uh that's wow, you got me speechless on this. Yes. I will say doing a lot of work on myself lately. Um, I've realized that a lot of my insecurities, my inadequacies, they show up. Something that's helped me though is like understanding like that happens with almost every human being that's ever
Mhm.
existed.
Mhm.
Um, and it's an opportunity to get better. Like when I really reflect on feedback I'm given as a husband, father, coach, or bariatric patient or anything else. Um, if you really listen to the feedback and say, how do you get better? It's an opportunity to learn. So,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, like I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the best at any of those things. I realize I got to get better on each one, and that's part of the process.
Mhm. I think I had a moment last summer where my daughter was getting my youngest twin was getting her first boyfriend. She wanted to date her first boyfriend. And she's really great at sports. She's a super athlete and like she's really good at volleyball. And I was getting really like upset about her focus on her boyfriend. And like I was and I knew it because again, therapy. So like I'm recognizing it and had this conversation with the app that Sarah and I are developing, LifeSync, and it's a good app. It was because it was between sessions, and through talking with Ari, recognizing like my own regrets about basketball, and like thinking about my wife and I, which I don't regret meeting my wife or anything that's happened with our relationship. I also do see how our relationship, like my focus became our relationship and not basketball.
Yeah.
And so, like, recognizing my own feelings of regret and different things that were coming up in that moment that I was afraid for my daughter. But I wasn't sitting there telling my daughter, hey, listen, I'm scared. Like, I'm worried that you're going to throw your future away for like I did. Right. And I didn't throw my future away. My future, again, a lot of work. My future is great. But in that moment, it was like making that connection where I'm like, this is about me. This ain't about her. And being able to, in that moment, then adjust my approach and just have conversations with her about it. It was made a complete switch. And when I recognized it was tied to old stuff that I hadn't dealt with.
It's very, as someone who like teaches high school history during the day, I don't think we realize how much priority students put on those early relationships, and rightfully so. Like it's, your first girlfriends, second girlfriends, learning how to adjust, coming into what adulthood. I think it's just very common. And I look back at like the amount of stress and anxiety I put myself around, dating in high school, or even getting a prom date, or getting through major milestones. Like I'm not equipped for that. Um, But the good news is now I get to watch like 400 seniors do it every year. And I'm like, well, I'm about average at this. Like, but it's, I think it's very common. And I think like it's important as parents to remember it's like, look, kids will be, and I say this the most loving way possible, kids will be morons for as long as kids exist. And Jason has heard me say this, like it goes all the way back to like, you can go back and look at studies of, Homer pretty much saying about Aristotle, who's going to go on and be said to be like the most intelligent man in the world. And Homer says, books are the devil because now you don't have to remember things. The youth don't listen to me like they used to when I was younger and faster. And, like this next generation doesn't work as hard as the next generation. Like it's just a very common biblical pattern. Yeah.
Yeah. The inadequacy part is wild to me because I didn't realize it until, I don't know, it was some years ago. But Sarah is one of those people, my wife, who just thrives on academia. Like in her mind, being biracial, growing up in Oklahoma, those things, like she had to be smarter, better than everybody in the room. And it equated to, in her mind, like there's more. Like if she could be a professional student, she would be. She never wants to quit going to school like forever. Like she wants to, like she wants to just become like the top level of any kind of academia ever, and it's wild to me. But I realize that it manifests itself in when she tries to help me do things. Like if she offers advice, if she wants to, she just will be doing something trying to help me. And in my mind, it's, oh, you think I'm dumb and I don't know what I'm doing. And the biggest thing for me has always been, I don't want, and I don't understand where the shit came from because I've never been made to feel dumb, except for like one time I can remember in my life in like 9th grade. I had a whore of a individual that was a Oklahoma history teacher in school, and she's just sucked. But like, as far as just
See,
like,
people say history teachers don't like have any effect on children. I hear that all the time.
oh no, she was a wretched individual. But just the fact that like I don't have a long history of being made to feel stupid. So where this comes from, I have no idea. But like legitimately, like anytime, like, and I've always been this way, and also like I shouldn't need lessons to do whatever the fuck, whatever you can imagine, singing lessons, dancing lessons. I should just be able to do these things without any lessons ever. And when I find out that people like, oh, Brad Pitt took acting lessons, like I didn't know that was a thing. Like, yeah, I shouldn't have to. I'm not supposed to just know how to do everything without a lesson of anything. And I just, for the life of me, like as I got older, I was like, well, shit, I missed out on a lot of things because I thought I could just do it on my own. And then when I couldn't do it on my own, I was like, oh, I guess that's not for me, and just keep it moving. But there are legitimate times where she's tried to do nothing but help me, and we get into a knockdown drag out because I'm like, well, you think I'm a fucking idiot. And she's like, I never said that. I just said, I can help you do these things. But to me, I'm like, oh, you just think you're fucking smarter than I am. And that upsets me. So now I'm just going to I'm going to rage out, and it's going to become a thing that didn't need to be a thing because you were legitimately just trying to help me. So I know that I have a certain level of intelligence that does not equate to degrees, that I've never put a huge amount of weight in degrees. It just shows you can go somewhere and sit down for a longer period of time. Cool. Am I discounting people that have degrees in certain things? Absolutely not. Theoretical physicist, awesome, cool, high five. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm not going to say doesn't, his diploma doesn't mean shit because he went and sat in a building. I'm not saying, but I have never like just equated like, oh, if I'm a dumbass because I don't have a bachelor's degree. Like that never, that's not something that I ever put a bunch of stock in. If I was going to be a brain surgeon, absolutely.
I would prefer the brain surgeon to spend some time in those buildings. But
for me, myself, I'm saying like, well, now I'm a mental moron because I didn't go get a bachelor's degree in fucking underwater basket weaving. Like that shit doesn't matter to me. Like there's hundreds of thousands of people that right now that have degrees that don't mean shit. And that's fine. Like, and we all know, like, that's just part of what it is. But I don't know why, like, for me, I just put that block up of, I don't need just because you have a piece of paper that has your name on it, talking to my wife, like, you're not smarter than me in this. I know what I'm doing. And that's kind of been, that's where my inadequacy rears its ugly head the most, is the fact that I just don't want, like, it to me, the assistance feels like you think I'm a dumbass, and I don't, that like it enrages me. And even though I know, like, I've learned this about myself, for some, like, most of the time, I still don't turn the switch off. Like, when people try to say, I'm just kind of like, it's fine. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I know Sarah be upset with you when you rage out because she's just trying to help you. She's like, dude, all right, do it yourself.
Well, and then it gets worse, because in training that you guys do that sucks ass, you guys know how to just turn all emotions off. So it doesn't matter what the fuck happens. I can just keep dumping gas on the fire and it just won't get any bigger until I finally just go wild off the reservation and say some just incredibly dumb shit. Then I get the reaction out of her, and then I'm like, yeah, that's right. But then it's like way worse than it needs to be.
Right.
It's a 5-alarm.
Burn down the whole neighborhood.
I'm like, damn it. All I wanted you to say, I just wanted you to care a little bit, not this.
Right. Hey, so if you ever need really good, like a movement in your relationship, I do these things called intensives, and I can help.
Absolutely.
3 days, 3 days, 2 bathroom breaks for 4 people. You do the math. This is worse than the Arby's, like 5-5-5 deal.
5 for 5.
So let me ask, thinking about healing, like we were talking about, like outside and inside having a lot to do with outside. Thinking about healing and actually making changes. I guess I'm curious, like thinking about what we do, like we try to have a good time, try to laugh, laugh at ourselves, stuff like that. How do humor and honesty help you heal as a man in your marriage, as a dad? Like, how do humor and honesty help you heal?
Tragedy plus time equals comedy. So I make light of the fact that, like, I'm a horrible human being, but I introduce myself as a horrible human being. I feel like it softens the blow, or at least gives like a, hey, I'm giving a heads up, like this is how it is. But like I'm pretty, there's no better way to put it than, like, I am painfully aware of my shortcomings. I try to make light of them, but I work on them every day. And the beauty is I have plenty of people in my orbit that will tell me exactly where I need to improve. So it's a good place to be.
Yeah. I know that a lot of, like, I'm finding out now that a lot of what I thought was humor I used when my kids were growing up was not funny to them, not as funny to them as I thought it was. And it's coming back to bite me in the ass now. Like, it doesn't really bite me, but I'm having to atone for a lot of the shit that I did, or a lot of the way that I raised my kids. And friends are kind of this, like, my friend group is kind of the same way. Like, we have certain people in our friend groups whose strained relationship with their kids based on the way that we thought that a bunch of shit was funny growing up. And for them, they're like, yeah, that shit wasn't funny at all. And I'm like, no. Where they're like, we feel like you guys made more fun of us than you did situations involving us. Like, we felt like we took the brunt of the joke, not the situation. And to us, we thought it was just situational awareness, comedy type shit. Like, we were just making fun of it. You just happened to be involved. Like, you caught a stray, or you were, you were kind of part of the overall arching premise, but you weren't the main focus. But to them, that's not how they see it. And their viewpoint is the reality of it all. Like, I can't tell them how they feel about what they went through. Like, they have to tell me, and I have to be able to sit down and listen to what they say when they say it. And I have to say, oh, well, shit, not only do I have to listen to it, but I have to be strong enough to apologize and explain. And sometimes I can explain, but other times the explanation sounds like I'm just making excuses.
Defending.
and I'm defending myself.
Mhm.
And that's not the type of apology they're looking for, and that's not the kind of conversation they're looking for. They're not
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, can you defend yourself on why you did what you did?" They're saying, "Hey, what you did upset me, and this is why. This is why this hurt. This is why this is. What the fuck?" And I have to be like, "Damn, I didn't look at it that way. You're right. I'm sorry for that. That was never my intention." Now, sometimes I can follow it up and say, "What I was trying to do was this," and it lands a little different, but it has to lead with the apology of it and me validating and recognizing their feelings before I lead with and this is
Mhm.
why I did what I did. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, it's just, they're just going to shut down and turn it off and go, "Well, you don't even fucking care. You're not sorry. You don't give two shits that you upset me in this way, however long ago." And there is no, like, one of the biggest things that I'm learning in terms of that is there's no statute of limitations. Their
Mhm.
feelings are their feelings. I don't give a shit if they're my son's 23 years old right now. If he comes and tells me there's something I did when he was 5 years old, I'm not going to be like, "Well, fuck, that was 20 years ago." Like, you can't do that. You
Mhm.
have to listen to what they have to say and let them explain it in a way, because it's not always about just healing the relationship itself. They're looking for a way to heal what hurts inside of them. And
Right.
you have to be there for that, because at the same time, you might have been a kid at the time that shit happened. I'm at 25, 26 years old, not knowing what the hell I was doing. But at the same time, I have to atone for that. Like, I can't just tell them that it's no big deal and they should have gotten over it by now because it's been 15 years. I have to
Mhm.
go back and say, "Oh shit, you're right. This is what, I apologize." Because I have to let them navigate their way through healing, because I still have to be a father at that point. I can't just go back and say, "Well, I was a dumb kid. I didn't know what I was doing." That's not an
I
excuse for being a dipshit.
Right.
Right.
And I think
And I
that's
think that's
important
important
in
in
not only
n
kids' relationships, but also in couples too, because I find that like stuff that happened 20 years ago in relationships that they never dealt with, that they're like, "Oh, we've let that go." Like it has ripple effects throughout their relationship. Like, the one that I'm doing intensive with now, they're talking about something that happened 15 years ago. They made the connection that something that happened 15 years ago just happened again back in, I think, April or May or something like that. It was a ripple effect. And the thing that happened in May was worse because they never dealt with the thing 15 years ago. And so when it comes to humor and honesty, I think that it's knowing when to utilize them. Like everything can't be humor. A lot of times people don't realize that humor is a defense to pain, right? So we're laughing, right? We're laughing instead of facing the actual emotion that's there. Like, I know Rob says he's a horrible person, which it actually takes a good person to recognize how horrible they are. And he says that in a joking way.
I'm so glad I'm at that level of enlightenment in my life.
Right.
I'm painfully aware of how big of a jerk I am. Like, I wrote the level before where it's like he doesn't realize he's that big of a jerk. It's like Jason's seen me enough to be like, "No, he knows what he's doing." Like, he's fully conscious of
Right.
what is going on in this situation.
Right. But a lot of times people laugh instead of feeling their emotions. And also I think for us as men, we try to use humor to hide our emotions. And so that's not like it's okay sometimes. And we also need to be willing to be honest instead of using humor. And so in sometimes we can use some humor, like in the podcast like this, there's ways we can laugh about our pain. There's also ways we can be vulnerable about it. And that's the honesty piece. And I think kids and your wife, your kids, your wife, they need that honest dad, that honest man to be able to say, be honest with yourself and like even recognize like being a jerk. Yeah, I'm a jerk and it's going to come across that way. And so because I'm a jerk, I know I'm a jerk. I'm going to have to make amends more often and I'm going to own it when it happens. They need that honesty from you so that they can heal those wounds and not carry those throughout the rest of their life. And so I guess my last question on this topic before we go to the blitz is I'm curious, what is one piece of advice that you want y'all's kids to hear about health and emotions that you didn't get growing up?
Uh, it's something I say to my clients every day. Don't sit in your issues. I think if I can teach my kids one thing about mine is I sat on my hands or help like in my issues for so many things, and just like voicing it, getting the support that you need when you have an issue and being okay with that, like that's kind of the win for me. My kids can do that.
That's good.
Yeah, mine would definitely be exercise both. Exercise both to the fullest ability of whatever that looks like to you, because building those healthier habits now will only allow you to continue that when you become a parent, when you become a spouse, when you become and your health on top of that. Like when you get, as you get older, like you have to be able to do like the work you put in now is going to sustain you for that. Like, and that's the same thing with emotional, with physical, with all the things. Like you have to be able to do the hard work now so you can get it out of the way. So you're not sitting in 8-hour intensives a day with Derek while he goes to eat meat sticks and drink. Like if you take care of all these things early, you don't have to do that work later. Like it's just it just will make you it'll make you a better person, a better father, a better spouse, a better wife, a better all these things. So just yeah, just put the work in early.
Yeah. Feel the emotions, man. Like that's one thing even as a therapist, I struggle with that, to be able to, for myself and for my kids, is just to allow space to feel the emotions and know that that's okay. That you don't need to suppress it, and you don't need to like not feel it in order to get through your day, right? Like I can feel this and get through my day. And so it's a both and kind of deal. Like feel what you're feeling so that you're aware of what you're feeling, so that you can process through it and eventually integrate it, and not let it continue to affect you the rest of your life. But a lot of people go through it, especially, us growing up, stop feeling it. Focus. Like, don't feel about this. Focus on the next play. Do this, do that. Don't feel that. Don't worry about that feeling. Suppress it, suppress it, suppress it. And it's led to an epidemic of anxiety and depression in our society, right? And so I think for my kids, it's feel your emotions and embrace frustration and embrace pain, because life is going to be frustrating and painful too. Like we're going to have hard points in life. There's that cliche saying of, you can't have joy without pain. You can't have happiness without sadness, right? Like you can't have love without feeling, loss, and so it's embracing all of it together, because it's all beneficial. And health wise, yeah, I think it's just staying consistent. Like you don't have to continue, especially with my twins, has been on my mind a lot. Like you don't have to continue at the same level you are now, that you're trying to like achieve college and get college paid for and stuff like that. Just stay consistent at some level after that. Like don't just get out of college, be like, all right, I'm not playing any more deuces. Like keep that consistency. So, well, that's dad bods and emotional damage. It was a good conversation, Rob. I appreciate you bringing your perspective to that conversation.
I would hope so. We went an hour and 46. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Rob. So what is one sentence takeaway from the episode for each of you? A one sentence takeaway.
Jason, you can go first for this one.
My one sentence takeaway is do the things needed to repair the relationships that you may or may not have damaged, because sometimes you can fix damage that hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
If you're still listening, you have patience, you can do hard things, and this is a testament to how well you can do. You can do anything for 2 hours if you're still listening to this episode.
If you're dedicated.
If you're dedicated. All right. I think my takeaway is it takes time. You're not going to get the results you want quickly. The results you want are going to take the time. So just endure and do the small things.
Nobody eats 40 slices of CC's pizza, at once. They take their time. They endure.
Oh, I took my time. It was one at a time, but I got to 40.
I know you did. And we're so proud that you shared.
I appreciate it. All right, Rob. Well, so I want you to plug. How do people connect with
I
you?
don't want people to find me at this point. If you've gotten to an hour and 56 of this podcast, I don't want to work with you. Quite frankly, you have issues. But this podcast
They can show they can do things that take time.
Right. These are the clients that you want. They can last. Those are the clients you want to work with.
Yeah.
They're going to stay consistent.
If they've heard this episode and they're like, I got to work with him, you can go to Barry Nation for a free 6 months and then follow up with me afterwards.
You going to plug your socials?
www.busybariatrics.com.
All right. Jason, what's your socials?
We'll put links in the show notes. It's so much safer.
Yes, there will be links in the show notes. You can find me at the THA_Smithsonian_ on Instagram and the Smithsonian on TikTok.
And y'all can find me at the giant_therapist on all socials. And don't forget to follow the MAJO Podcast. We're on all socials as well. It's at the MAJO Podcast, MAJO Podcast. For clips, behind the scenes, ways to join the conversation, share the show, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Next week, we're talking diving into a big one.
Ended next week. We're in next week, Derek.
So next week's episode.
Back episode. See you next month.
This is a 2-week episode. You made this a 2-week episode. You're 35 minutes of Best Buy talk. Next week, can you love your wife and still miss being alone? So you don't want to miss that one. We got a great guest host on for that one as well. And so we'll hope to see you then. Appreciate you tuning in.